We've been through the age of the TV anti-hero and seen many a good guy breaking bad. And while it is fascinating when a supposedly heroic character turns to the dark side, whether it's a brief flirtation or going past the point of no return, it's at least equally as compelling, if not even more so, when a villain goes in the opposite direction. You either die a villain or you live long enough to see yourself become the hero. That's the saying, right? Well, either way, I am Gareth, this is What Culture, and here are 10 TV shows where the villain became a hero. Number 10, Hercules: The Legend Journey, Xena. Xena, the warrior princess, may have been the hero of her own show, but her life on screen didn't actually start out that way. The character portrayed by Lucy Lawless debuted on the series Hercules: The Legendary Journeys. The original plan was for the character to have just a 3-episode arc on the show, with the first 2 introducing her as a villain and powerful warlord, before then killing her off in the 3rd. However, the character's popularity quickly skyrocketed, so much so that she was ultimately given her own spin-off show. That's when you know you're doing something right. Instead of just killing her off, Hercules showed her how to open her heart, and that there are alternative methods to, killing people. Thus, Xena embarks on a quest for redemption, becoming the champion of good that everyone now remembers. And it also led to an even bigger TV show than Hercules. Now, what's your favorite TV spin-off of all time? You let me know in the comments section down below. Number 9, The Walking Dead: Merle Dixon. The quest for redemption is not easy, and sometimes it can only be achieved by, well, dying. Case in point, Merle Dixon. The Walking Dead's resident racist redneck, the 3 R's. Merle was an absolute a-hole who then committed to full-out villainy not before losing his hand when siding with the governor at Woodbury. With crimes including bigotry, misogyny, and torturing Glenn, Merle was a completely detestable character, but also quite an interesting one. In Season 3, we learned more of his past and the brutality suffered at the hands of his father, and the complex relationship he shared with fan favorite Daryl made him much more than a straight-up antagonist. And eventually he turned against his master, not only doing his best to save the lives of Rick's group, but also trying to kill the governor himself. Sure, it ultimately cost him his life, and he won't really be remembered as a true hero in the traditional sense, but hey, at least he came good at the end there. Number 8, Deadwood: Al Swearingen. In the first episode of Deadwood, Al Swearingen steps on the neck of a prostitute. It's a moment of brutality that would serve as a sign of things to come. Over the course of the series, Swearingen was a vicious, law-breaking bastard. And yet, despite all that, Swearingen genuinely loved the town of Deadwood. And while he served his own ends, often in quite horrible ways, he also always wanted to do what was best for his hometown as well. As the show went on, it included him becoming more of a heroic character, if again not exactly in the traditional sense, as George Hurst begins to spread his influence across Deadwood in Season 2 and especially Season 3, rising up as the show's big bad. Swearingen frequently works with those he's often butted heads with to thwart him. So yes, he is still very much awful, but also on the side of good. So that's why he's on this list. Number 7, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers: Green Ranger. Yes, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers was a kids' TV show, I know. But that doesn't mean it didn't have some room for nuanced character work, people. When Tommy Oliver arrived at Angel Grove High School, he didn't really seem like the evil sort. However, his friendship with Jason and martial arts skill meant that he caught the eye of the evil witch Rita Repulsa, who bewitched him to be her loyal servant. Don't you just hate it when that happens? Under her spell, he defeats their mentor, Zordon, destroys the command center, and infects Alpha 5 with a virus, freeing the path to domination for Rita. It's only when he's defeated by Red Ranger that the spell is broken, meaning Tommy can return to normal and become the true Green Ranger, attempting to atone for his sins and eventually becoming regarded as the greatest Power Ranger of all time. Who needs prestige television, eh? Not me. Who's the most underrated hero in all of television in your opinion? You let me know in the comments section down below. Number 6, Battlestar Galactica: Caprica-Six. One of the many versions of Number 6, Caprica started out as a ruthless villain, evidenced by her affair with Dr. Baltar, where she seduces him to obtain access codes that will allow her to bring about all manner of chaos and destruction. She also appeared to be remorseless, but eventually her character started to shift into a more sympathetic, anti-heroic figure, before then becoming a more outright good person. She ultimately becomes viewed as a hero, even saving Baltar's life, and comes to ally herself with the humans, displaying that she has the ability to feel emotions and even expressing regret over her previous actions. She got there in the end, that's all that matters. Thank you very much for checking out this bad to good list today, my friend. If you're having a good time with it, then hit that subscribe button down below and you will have more of them with more of these lists. It's a very simple equation. Number 5, Stranger Things, Steve Harrington. Although not really evil like many of the characters featured here, the Steve Harrington of Stranger Things Season 1 is undoubtedly a bit of a dick. The stereotypical jock-type character, he's a self-centered, arrogant bully with little regard for others, even his own girlfriend. Season 2, however, sees one of the great character transformations. Steve not only recognizes his own bad behavior, but makes a serious effort to change, resulting in him becoming a babysitter to the younger members of the cast. His bond with Dustin is particularly sweet, and Joe Keery makes him funny, charming, and completely lovable. To complete the turnaround, he's even given a major hero moment when fighting against the demo dogs. But it's chatting about Farrah Fawcett hairspray and giving pep talks to Dustin that cemented his place in our hearts, and we've loved our Steve in every season since. Number 4, Lost Ben Linus. Originally cast for only 3 episodes during the show's 2nd season, Michael Emerson's Ben Linus soon became the main antagonist of the show, serving as the leader of the others. Although, of course, things were never quite as they seemed in Lost, were they? An incredible liar and master manipulator, Ben was seemingly responsible for many of the mysterious goings-on the island, and allows others to die in order to further his own ends. Across seasons 4 and 5, however, the character starts to get more fleshed out, as we learn about his daughter being killed and his own childhood too. While he's never exactly likable due to his past actions and untrustworthy nature, he's definitely written to be more of a good guy at this point, and he does work with the rest of the survivors, and after losing everything, he commits to working for the forces of good. Number 3, True Blood, Eric Northman. When True Blood started out, it was Bill who was the good vampire, the one who Suki fell in love with, and who tried to live amongst the humans and refused to kill. Eric, while not evil as such, was much more of the bad guy type who'd do whatever it took to get what he wanted. He was violent, arrogant, and manipulative, and even tortured Lafayette in the 1st season. Nasty stuff. By the end of Season 2 and start of Season 3, though, that was starting to shift a bit, with a couple of factors at work. The first was the death of his creator, Godric, and the second was his relationship with Suki. Whereas before he seemed indifferent to her, he gradually develops an affection that results in him constantly saving the day, albeit with the darkness still inside him. In Season 5, after losing, then regaining his memories in the 4th year, the script is completely flipped. Bill becomes the evil one, possessed by Lilith, and Eric is the savior of Suki, Bon Temps, and the wider vampire population. Now yes, he is still a little cocky, but Alexander Skarsgård's charisma cannot help but shine through, making him a much more likable, noble figure. Number 2, Game of Thrones, Jaime Lannister. Jaime Lannister has sex with his sister and then pushes a young child out of a high window with the intent of killing him. And while he may profess to do it for love, he's already the biggest bastard going, really. A few episodes later, and that status is further cemented, with him fighting against main hero Ned Stark and stabbing right-hand man Jory through the eye. Not too long after that, he is captured, but nonetheless, his character is still one half of an incestuous, poisonous power duo. That is, until Season 3. When the Kingslayer loses his sword hand and is forced to confront who he really is and what he's done. If his relationship with Cersei defined who he was, then his relationship with Brienne showed the man he could be. It was to her, after being in prison, broken down, and robbed of the one thing he was better at than anyone else, Jaime strips himself bare, literally and figuratively, and reveals the truths no one knows. It's a startling turning point that sets him on the difficult road to redemption. The show had him turning back to Cersei one time too many, but through his surprisingly sweet, tragic bond with daughter Marcella, his love for Brienne, and a desire to do the right thing, he got there in the end, turning his back on his sister in the Season 7 finale and joining the fight for survival. You know, before they both died under some rubble. And number 1, Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Spike. When Spike and Drusilla rolled into Sunnydale in schoolyard, they were the ultimate vampire power couple, doing what they like, killing who they want, and having a bloody good time along the way. Spike was an evil vampire, albeit one with a sense of humor, and his run on the show was supposed to be brief. The intention had been for him to die in What's My Line Part 2. However, the character's popularity kept him around, and James Marsters' chemistry with the rest of the cast changed his trajectory completely. He was at first forced into being good, with the Initiative placing a chip in his head that prevented him from hurting people. But his uneasy alliance with the Scooby Gang led into genuine affection, even love for Buffy. But looked at over the course of his 6 seasons on the show, you see him go from a vampire who wants nothing more than to wreak havoc and kill for sport, to someone with a soul who sacrifices himself to save the entire world. Nice, some arc.